Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here. Harmony Energy Healing, Sacred Sessions. And I'm doing a video, and I don't even know what I'm going to title it yet. I talk to a lot of people throughout the course of the day, every day. And everything and everyone is our teacher. The things that we discuss, sharing perspectives, interaction, we learn from that, hopefully. And so we learn from others through the dark and the light, if you want to call it. In other words, the good parts and the shadow parts. We learn from it. We learn the hard way sometimes. That things are not what they seem. So in talking to a friend, and it's about our experiences with other people and what we learn from them and how we try to make sense of things and try to understand something that we really might not even be able to truly, totally understand, but then that's okay. So much of what I write in videos and stuff is about judgment and where that comes from and why. Okay, and so and this is the observation of what people do towards you. Now remember, we always talk about this, it's from their woundedness or whatever, that little inner child that maybe didn't get something, is still screaming for it. I don't know. But when you have a friend and I want to say turn on you, I don't know if that's the right word, but you have a friendship that's a certain thing for a certain period of time, and then something shifts or changes for whatever reason, and it's like, it's not being resolved. It seems like it's very difficult for it to be resolved. Hold on a second. Too bright, two bulbs. I have to take one of them down a notch. Anyway, so when something isn't being resolved, maybe it's for a reason, okay? And when that person will be judgmental, we don't realize sometimes at first it feels hurtful that it's coming from their wounds or their stuckness, and they want to pin it on someone else. They want to look for faults in someone else and feel superior and make that other person the bad guy or whatever. I've had it happen to me many, many times. Some people will let you be yourself. They'll accept you for who you are. You know, you go through waves and things together and it's fine, but that doesn't always happen. So when someone tries to put you down to other people to try to make themselves feel better, and especially if they've been shitty to you and they don't want to take responsibility for it, they really try to paint you as the bad guy so they don't have to look bad or feel bad for what they did to you. Sometimes you'll hear people say that. But this one is especially about when people try to do, and I don't even know what the word to use. I use the word underhanded. I don't even know what the right word I want to use for it. It's calculated, it's devious, it's dark, it's nasty. I don't know what to say, but where they will focus on something negative about you, even if it's not even true. They'll take something small, blow it out of proportion, make it into something it's not. And then they'll talk to other people about that to give other people a bad view of you or something, whatever it is. And then sometimes those people will turn on you and attack you. In other words, they want to take a side and defend person, and then they want to spew shit at you. You know what I mean? So it's a nasty little cycle. And I used an analogy with a friend. It's like, okay, if there's something that you do in the world that you feel called to do, that you feel strongly about, that's important to you, that matters to you, and they know it, right? They want to find whatever they can to use against you. So they'll find weaknesses, they'll find wounds, they'll poke them, whatever. They'll use that thing that they know bothers you to sort of keep you down or put you down or control you if they can, whatever it is, I don't know. So, but like with me, I do a lot of writing, and I feel called to do it because things that I've learned, I have messages that I feel called to share, whatever that means. It doesn't matter. Some people understand it, some people don't. If they don't understand, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the reason it's done or needs to be done, or that I choose to do it, or that I'm guided to do it, or whatever. However anybody wants to interpret what I say, or believe it or not believe it, or bash it or not bash it, I don't know. Okay, so sometimes we do something that's important to us. Okay, maybe we help causes in the world. And maybe we're too extreme with those, who knows? Maybe we're an artist. Maybe we're a writer. Okay. Maybe we study something, we gain a lot of knowledge. Even though we never have all knowledge, we still gain a lot of knowledge, enough to be helpful for us to do something with it. And especially if it's through good intention and for good purpose, even if other people don't see that. Even if we don't see it, we're all evolving and growing through what we do. But like, for instance, with my writing, a lot of people seem to be benefiting from or getting good messages from it. A lot of it, whatever, to where they say, okay, this speaks to me, this is helpful. You know, they're just saying things about, in positive ways, if it touched them or whatever it is to each individual person, and they don't speak to each person the same way. But some person that I know for a while now, and it creates destruction of things, really, friendships and connections and whatever, likes to try to put my work down. My work comes from my heart and soul. It's part of my healing process. It matters to me. It's important to me. That's why I do it. Okay? Even if it's not understood by someone, it doesn't matter. So if there's something that you feel called to do and that you love to do, and someone tries to make you feel bad, you're probably not going to stop doing it. Because they don't know what it means to you, but they might try to use that against you because they know that it means something to you, right? And jealousies, a lot of people say this comes from jealousies, and most people that are coming from that lower energy, they don't see that and they don't want to hear it, and they will deny it, okay? And conversations between people where people can be open and honest heals so much, but some people will not do it. They will not do it. They will not communicate in that way openly and honestly, where they could admit shit and even apologize for it if it's necessary. I don't know. They'd have to be able to recognize that it was an issue or a problem to begin with, and they won't. They won't. They don't see it like that. So what I said to one of my friends, and I didn't mean for this to be a long video, but is like, let's say you were an artist and you put so much into your art and it was vibrant and beautiful and people loved it. It lifted them. They enjoyed something about the art that you created from somewhere within you. And you had your studio and you had all your art there. And let's say some little asshole came in there and just set fire to it and burned it down. And you'd be like, why would someone do that? Or let's say they tried to light your studio on fire, but you put it out. But you ask yourself, why would somebody do that? Why would someone be so coldly calculated and cruel and uncaring and uncompassionate to try to destroy something that means something to someone else, to try to find fault with it and pick at it and put it down and make derogatory comments about it, like it has no value? It is ego, because the ego loves to feel superior, and some people are in a state of like acting superior, and other people see it. They see it, but the person that's in it doesn't see it sometimes. So sometimes if we can look at ourselves reflectively and say, oh gosh, I need to think about that. Like, what I'm doing, is that okay? If you question yourself, I think that's good. You don't need to beat yourself up, but you need to be aware and question yourself, and be able to apologize sometimes. Because like sometimes my tone can be really intense and it's just the passion, or maybe the old wounds coming out or whatever. And it doesn't mean to be hurtful to someone, but that's the way they take it. And I'll apologize and say, hey, I didn't mean that to be like, I'm direct, but I didn't mean that to be hurtful to you. That's just what's coming out. You know what I mean? So especially if we didn't intend something, to be able to apologize. But I think it's when we did intend it that it's harder to apologize for, or whatever. So it's really about what people do to harm others, and that's what keeps humanity stuck. So is that the wounded child? Because we all go through shit on this planet. Something happened in childhood where they did not have certain resources. There was something they needed and they didn't get. and it's unresolved and they're screaming for it in some way. So when someone acts like that, they're really going into that childish mode of trying to get attention. Really, they want to be something or have attention for something and they're not getting it, so they'll do little shitty things to get negative attention, because negative attention is better than no attention, right? So people doing these what I childish, what I call underhanded, almost devious, just, it's so unkind. And it's from people who actually do offer kindness to other people at times, but the ones closest to them, they push away. And then maybe they're mad when that person goes away, and then they want to blame it on the person and try to make the person responsible so they don't have to take responsibility. It's just weird because there's so many parts of it and we don't recognize or realize all the parts. Okay. So maybe next time you're thinking a shitty thought about someone, take a step back and ask yourself, where's that coming from? Is it true? Do I need to be thinking this? Is it helping me or anyone in the situation? And if the shitty thought leads to a shitty action, if you didn't stop the thought in the process and you're starting to do the action, you might ask yourself, how does this serve me to say this about another person, or to do this thing that's going to potentially cause harm to another person? How does that serve me? Is that nurturing anything? Or is it creating more dysfunction to be healed through the karmic state? Right? So this is just for awareness of what we do. When we harm others, people, we harm ourselves. Right? So sometimes there comes a time in life to pull our heads out of our ass. Nobody wants to hear that. Peace.